Man United fans, how are you feeling? How are you feeling after that game? What a game of football that was. Manchester United 4-4 against Bournemouth at Old Trafford. That was the game of the season, guys. I don't care what anyone says. That, as a neutral, hey, I'm not a Man United fan, but I'm well fed. I can go to sleep tonight. Belly's full. The Premier League delivers again. And you know what it is with these, Monday night football games? I don't know why. The Liverpool against Newcastle game at the beginning of the season, phenomenal. Man United 2 weeks ago, good game. And now, Man United Bournemouth. It might just be United, to be honest. As funny as United get trolled and the amount of, kind of attention United get because of Amorim and, the way the club is going at the moment, I can't lie. I've been entertained this season by them. They have been better, than last season. You can see that. Improvements are there. But they're just entertaining. I don't know. There's something about United that just make me want to watch them nowadays. This game was a game of two halves. This game was a game of two halves, and I'm not going to really come here and just overanalyze it. I'm just going to say how it is. United, today going forward, great. United defensively today, terrible. Absolutely terrible today. And look, I think the best way to summarize this game is that both teams couldn't really defend well today. Both teams were very, very good going forward today, when they had to be. Bournemouth in that second half, phenomenal. Very, very good and effective going forward. United in that first half, very, very good going forward. So it was a game of two halves in that sense. I thought United were great in the first half. They set up well, chance creation. They were lucky with the goals, to be honest, in terms of how they scored it. I felt like the chances that they missed, those were deserving to be goals, if that makes sense. Mbeumo had a good chance, Cunha had a good chance, Ahmad had a good chance, Mount had a very good chance too. So they could have been 2 or 3-0 up in that first half. And honestly, by the way it was going in that first half, the way they were kind of just playing Bournemouth out of the park, they should have been 3-0 up at halftime. I thought 2-1, they were still in the lead, yes, but they should have been 3-0 up in my opinion. Bournemouth just looked toothless. United's mistake at the back, Mount and Shaw, they had a bit of an error there, led to the Bournemouth goal. Semenyo, insane pace and power. He's just one of those players that he's just a joy to watch, really, honestly. Bournemouth may not be having the best game, but he'll always find a way to shine. We saw it at Anfield and we saw it today again. He was good today. I thought Semenyo was quality in that first half. But that goal that United conceded to Semenyo was the initial sign, the sign of their problems to come for the rest of the game. Aid in heaven, you have to close him down faster. I'm not even a United fan, I'm telling you. I was frustrated to see that. You had to close him down faster. I mean, bro, Mount, who's not even a defender, this guy was waving his arms while chasing Semenyo on one leg. Get back! And then Semenyo, great finish, bottom corner. You can't really do too much about it, at least for Lamin's sake. But United go up 2-1 at halftime, right? I mean, obviously, Petrovic made 2 mistakes that led to United's goal. At least the first one was kind of a mix-up between him and his defenders. Ahmad heads it home. Second goal from a corner. Casemiro. Honestly, Petrovic, mate, what are you doing? What are you doing? That should not go in. Any day of the week, man. I could save that. But United go in 2-1, halftime. And guys, Man United, when leading at halftime, for those who don't know, Man United, when leading at halftime, have never lost a home game in the league since 1984. And it was so close to getting broken today. Oh my God, Brooks, you could have made history today, man. David Brooks could have made history today in the 98th minute. Lamens, fair enough, man. Great save. Anyways, that second half was just a basketball match. Back and forth. Pinball FC, man. Pinball FC. You know what I think Iraola did? Iraola probably called Hansi Flick at halftime. He's like, let me in on the secrets. Let me know how to play your game. That second half was flickball. Back and forth. United fans, now you know how I feel. Now you know exactly how I feel. That's how I feel every week. Literally, what you guys experienced in that second half is what I go through every week. It's hard attack ball, man. I don't know what else to tell you. But in the second half, we saw a much wider game. It was a wide open game. Bournemouth made some tweaks in the formation, ran down the United midfield, which was practically non-existent for 60% of the game today. The defense, United, looked bad as well. Shaw, Yoro, Heaven, what are you guys doing, man? What are you guys doing, bro? I mean, to be fair, you can blame them only so much, but let's be real. Both goals, at least I think the second and third goal came from midfield errors. Bruno, I don't know what you're doing for that second goal. And this is just a reoccurring theme nowadays, with Amorim, his system. And look, I'm not going to blame Amorim. Today, actually, there were good signs, for Amorim, at least going forward. Great signs. We can see improvement in attack. And Mbeumo, Cunha, Mount, Ahmad, Bruno, all these guys, what they provide up front is great. You know, we can see an upward trajectory in that sense. But you can only say so much about that when you don't cover your losses in the back, guys. You have to cover them, man. It's all great, you know, scoring 4 goals at home. Bournemouth, great. But when you're conceding 4 to Bournemouth, come on, man. That's sad. You can't do that. You cannot be doing that. So I do think it is a system issue. You know, as much as people are going to overuse the excuse of Amorim, system, blah, 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 blah. It's true. Today's representation is literally the best example for it. They are great going forward. But this system, as soon as a manager, Areola, who's known, Bournemouth manager, who's known for making great in-game management decisions. That's literally what he's known for. And I think I rate him so highly as a manager. As soon as he makes a tweak in formation after halftime, adds an extra man in midfield, Jimenez starts to invert, who I thought had a great game today. Starts to invert. Joins Tavernier, Scott, Clivert, all these guys in the middle. They absolutely ran through United's midfield today in that second half. Absolutely ran through. And it's those slight tweaks, whether it's adding the extra man in midfield, the overlapping fullback, whatever it is, you can start to see the flaws in Amorim's system. You can start to see the flaws. And that ultimately is the difference between United and the elite teams. The control. It's the lack of control in that second half that separates them. If you see Arsenal, City, Liverpool, all these top teams, in that second half, they see it out. They find a way to control the game. They slow it down, make it to their pace. They end up probably scoring a third or fourth. They win the game. And they're so defensively resolute too, don't forget. That's the difference between them. Liverpool, I know it's not a great example this season, but you get the point. Last season. That's the difference, guys. So I think, you know, Amorim, yes, there are positive signs, but you can't read through the negative signs too. And look, a lot of it does have to do with the players today. I think, you know, like I said, the back line, the midfield should have done better. Way better. You know, I thought they fed into Bournemouth's game way too easily in that second half. Like I said, the lack in pace when losing the ball to recover, you know. Bruno out of position for that, you know, for the Tavernier free kick. Obviously, it was a free kick, but Casemiro took him down, edge of the box, leads to a goal. So it's a mistake after mistake after mistake that eventually leads, you know, to United's backline being exposed. The Evan Nilsson goal, great example. How are you letting Jimenez and Tavernier just run through that entire midfield without taking them down, without getting the ball back? The same goes for Krupi's goal too. I mean, it's just a reoccurring theme, guys. And we saw that in second half. And I'm not going to lie, that United attack in that second half wasn't amazing too. You know, that first half, I thought they played Bournemouth out of the park. Great performance. You know, I could have come on here and talked about how great, you know, United's attack was for the whole game, but it's the inconsistencies, guys, between the first half and the second half, and it's just a constant recurring theme. I hope you kind of understand what I'm trying to get at. I thought Mainu, when he came on, kept it ticking with Bruno in the middle, although, you know, obviously they were defensively exposed. Going forward, you know, they were able to create some sort of, you know, ball progression, some chance creation. Cunha had a decent game. Mount didn't have a great game. And Buemo, my brother, this guy's already thinking of AFCON, bro. I don't even know where he was today. So honestly, I think if I was a United fan, I'd be frustrated. There was a chance, you know, there was a chance there. You guys had the game in your hands, and you just let it slip. And fair play to Areola and Bournemouth, by the way. I don't want to take anything away from how they turned up in that second half. I thought they were brilliant. And I think, although they're not in the greatest run of form, I think it's like they're winless in like 6 or 7 now, which is not up to like their standard based on last season and the season before. But you can't like disregard the quality that they have in their team. Semenyo, Krupi, Tavernier, Jimenez today, like I said, was great. They have good players. And this is without Tyler Adams. This is without David Brooks starting too. Christie. They have a couple injuries on their hands too. So I think, you know, Bournemouth did show up today. They gave United a really good game. Like I said in the last video, the next 3 games really define their season. Bournemouth, they drew. I'm pretty sure in the last video I predicted them to win. Aston Villa away next. With the form they're in, guys, Villa away. That's a really good game. That's a very, very good game. Newcastle at home, I'll be real. I expect United to win this game. If they don't, I'll be very, very surprised. Like, Newcastle are just not in great form, so they should be able to win that game. But Villa away, it's a real test. That's a real test. I'm not going to say just because Bournemouth scored 4 against them today at Old Trafford, Villa are going to score like 10. No, that's not the case. You know, football always changes. It will be interesting to see how they deal with Villa next week. If we can see some sort of confident performance from United, it can tell us a story. Because ultimately, I'm still learning, you know, from watching these United games, how the system is, how Amorim is, how the players are. Are they improving? Are they not? But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like I said, lovely game of football to watch as a neutral. United fans, let me know your thoughts. I want to hear you. You know, it's a safe space out here. I'm trying to create a community. Like, share, subscribe, guys. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.